All right, here we go again. We are on our second episode this evening, and it is such a pleasure and an honor to get the chance to meet all of these great educators and connect and share and learn about their journey and learn from them as well. None of that would be possible without Swivel and Bulb. So I want to thank you for your partnership this year. Thank you for all that you do for students, for education, and to make this a possibility. So I just talked about meeting individuals and learning from individuals. You saw multiple photos for the first minute today, seeing other individuals, and I've been lucky enough to have that opportunity to connect with. And this is another individual that I'm excited to learn from. I'm excited to hear about his sessions, his book, The Wired Educator, and everything that he has going on. I want to welcome Keven in and just excited to connect and talk to you. It's been almost a year.
Yeah, and thanks for having me on. I've been looking forward to this, being on a Christmas break now, trying to get on a couple podcasts. Just finished up about an hour ago on another one with Ryan Reed, the Pixel Classroom podcast there. Now I get to talk to you. It's just a
Uh,
fun evening tonight.
awesome. Busy night for sure.
Yeah.
So I know we had a chance to meet last year at FETC and then going to be heading back this year. Tell us a little bit, first of all, who you are, for those of you who haven't met you, where you are currently teaching, and your journey to FETC this year.
Oh, absolutely. Well, first I got to say I am in Northwest Ohio, and you just had Kelly and Ainsley on a little bit
I
ago.
know. Are you okay with that as a Michigan
I
fan?
was watching, and she pointed out the Michigan and the fact. Oh, did I say that word?
Yeah, you
Go
probably aren't
Bucks!
even supposed to say that.
Go Bucks! I hope we get our rematch in the national championship game. We'll see who wins this time around. But I'm born and raised in northwestern Ohio, here in a little town called Tiffin, a small population, about 20,000 people. I work in a PK to 12 private district, Catholic school. I'm a proud graduate myself. We have about 500 students total. I am the just changed titles here recently. I am actually now I was the director of technology. Now I am the director of innovation and educational technology, doing a lot of the same stuff I was already doing, but now I have the fun time. I'm really enjoying it, actually, of doing data analytics and diving into looking at standardized test scores and trying to find ways that we can work with students, get them engaged, and move forward and really innovate and do big things. This will be, I think, when I counted, my fifth or sixth year going down to FETC.
Wow. Okay.
Depends on if we count, the 2021 where nothing really happened there.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, there's one where it was virtual or something like that. So
Yeah. Yeah. Over the
what was
COVID
going
year.
on? But
After Miami was COVID, and then back to Orlando.
yes, yeah. So I went to Orlando, went to it in Miami, went back to it in Orlando. Looking forward to doing it down in New Orleans. So it's a great time down there. Tons of great people. It was really eye opening for me. I've been going to conferences for years. I've presented at the Ohio Educational Technology Conference a ton over the years. Really pumped to have that one back in person this year. Haven't been there since 2020. So glad they're bringing that back, and hopefully we got a full crowd down in New Orleans this year, because it was just a little bit smaller capacity this past year at FETC.
Yeah, it's a little bit smaller. I think a year more removed from lockdown. I think, and being in a new location, I think it'll be a big draw. What are you looking forward to most about heading down there?
Connecting with people. I mean, it goes perfect with your stronger together
Yeah.
theme here, but I hate to say it, but I get more from the interactions in the hallways, from going to the dinners, from just running into people. I turn into a fanboy sometimes. I'm like, I'll start shaking when I see this one EDU rock star that I've been following on Twitter for years. But those conversations that happen around, if you can't see it here, but I got a decent sized belly on me. I love
Oh,
food.
gee.
I love going to dinners and stuff with people. I feel like there's a lot of laid back conversation where a lot of great ideas are shared when you're down there.
For sure. And what do you hope participants will be taking away from your sessions?
My sessions, I'm going to be focusing a lot on 3D printing and how we can utilize it in the classroom. So if districts are wanting to know, how to pick a printer or how to get started with their teachers, or if you're a teacher that has access to a printer but you haven't been sure how to use it, stop in on my sessions, run into me in the hallway, whatever. I'll be happy to sit and have that conversation with you about all the ideas and projects that, you know, my son is 7 years old, and usually in every session that I do, I show this picture of him doing one of his first designs that he made himself on his Chromebook. He was 4 years old. So literally any kid can do design work on Tinkercad and be up and running. So your fear should not be, oh, the kids are too young, they won't be able to get there. And those are sort of things I'll talk about while we're down there and talk about on Twitter and you know, on podcasts and stuff. Let's make it happen for the kids.
Awesome. And speaking of making it happen, and speaking about the 3D printers, your kind of entry into me kind of know who you were, and seeing some of the work. You wrote this book, A Guide to 3D Printing in Every Classroom. And I'd love to know more about that. I'd love for you to share some of the background of this, and for the readers, what will they get out of having this into their schools, and how will that help student learning and parts like
Yeah,
that.
this was definitely a COVID lockdown lifelong goal thing that just kind of came together. For years now, I've been saying, I really want to write a book, really want to write a book. And then lockdown happened, and it was a chance for me to really focus on my passion areas, which primarily is 3D printing in the classroom and how we can use that. So the book starts with, making the decision on what kind of printer to go with. I'm not going to lean one way or another with any brand. That's all
Right.
your personal preference type thing there. But how to get started with understanding how a printer works, where to go to get files, where to go and get lesson plan ideas. Instead of calling it chapters, I call it layers because 3D
Okay.
prints are made in layers, and you build up to get to that final completed object. And by the end of the book, I'm hoping that everyone that reads it has this feeling that yes, they can go with it, they can do it, they can let loose and just let the kids design and do things on their own. Because I really feel within the next 5-10 years, these 3D printers are going to be in a lot of kids' homes. And they're going to be designing stuff to solve problems around their house and their communities. So why not use it to help them understand the content in the classroom as well as doing great things for the people they love around them.
Yeah, and as a former principal and now as a district leader, that kind of gives guidance on what to bring in, and what technology. Why would I recommend bringing in a 3D printer? Tell us what the impact you have seen it has had on learning.
Well, talking with other districts and doing the simple things that we've done around, the biggest impact that I've seen schools have are in the form of solving problems in
Okay.
their own building. One of the classic examples I give when I'm speaking at conferences or in workshops or anything like that is one of our maintenance workers had a floor scrubber, and
Okay.
a piece of it, a bushing, broke, and they couldn't get a new one. Like they worked with the manufacturer, and it was going to cost like $70 to get it, and it was on back order, so it was going to be 6, 8, 10 weeks, whatever it was to get it in.
Sure.
So he actually brought it into our technology class, and I wasn't the teacher at that point in time. I was just the tech director. I hadn't moved back in the classroom yet, but he took it to the teacher and said, "Hey, do you think you guys could make one of these?" So they went. I don't know if I actually have one around me. Yes, I do actually.
Look
One
at
of
that.
the most beneficial tools you'll need in 3D printing is a digital caliper. I mean, it
Okay.
doesn't have to be digital, but this helps you to look at internal and external diameters. I didn't know it existed until this project came along, and the teacher in the room actually had some of them. But this allowed the students to go, "Wow, what do you know? We've got math right here. This is pretty straightforward." So they're measuring the inside diameter of the circles and then the outside diameter of the bushing, so they can figure out the thickness of the wall and everything there. So it took the students, I believe it was 4 tries. They made a design, they printed it, it didn't fit. So they had to adjust where the hole was or something like that. So it went back and forth and back and forth. And ultimately, they were able to recreate it. Now, it didn't hold up as well as one that would have been from the original manufacturer, but it was a great way to see student involvement, building community in our building,
Sure.
working with the maintenance crew to help that person. So we're building empathy with our students, solving a problem, could be saving money, I guess, depends on the
Sure.
situation
Sure. Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
Um, but then you're infusing, STEM, STEAM, whatever acronym you want to use there, interdisciplinary learning.
Awesome. So, one of the things you talked about earlier, besides just going to the events and learning and bringing this technology and your kind of intellect into the environment, you collaborate with other individuals and not just at the event, but also through professional learning communities, like, for instance, the Wired Educator. So, for those watching or listening who do not know about the Wired Educator team, tell us a little bit about it.
Yeah, the Wired Educator Squad. I believe some of them are watching
Squad.
right now. I'll have to look at my phone, see if it's blowing up here in a minute. But Wired Educator was started by Kelly Croy. He is a director of innovation at Port Clinton City Schools. He was a longtime ELA teacher at Oak Harbor, which is not very far from me. It's both of those schools are about 45 minutes away because in Ohio we tell distance by time, not miles. It's just the
Right.
thing Ohio does for some reason. But Kelly started the Wired Educator podcast quite a few years back. He's had tons of episodes. He's collaborated with many, many great educators. And he and I had bounced some ideas back and forth a few years ago. He was one to, bring a group together. And over the years, we were able to form a squad. What do we have? 6 or 7 people in there now. And we have a weekly Twitter chat every Wednesday night. It's just a half hour long. It's about 4 or 5 questions. So we usually have a great time having those conversations. And that's where the book came from too. Kelly wanted to start helping people get their word out, and I had approached him with the idea, the concept of 3DU, and we were able to make that happen. So he helped me go through the entire process of writing a book, and I did not realize how much work is in writing a book. Like you write the book, and then there's just as much work
That's the
afterwards.
start, right? Just getting your ideas down.
Yes. So that's been great working with everybody there. And anytime we have a question about something, we just send a message to the group chat, and we get results right away. Because the power of many, you're whatever problem you're going through, you're probably not the first person to ever experience it. So work with those around you to find solutions.
No, and I couldn't agree more. And it's been a great night chatting, Kelly, and uh, before this about having that professional learning community. Talking to you now about the Wired Educator. If you don't follow them, Twitter accounts right there. And then Wednesday nights at 9 o'clock is the chat. The hashtag is even below that. And having those opportunities to meet and learn from other people, you just become better. I've seen too many people in this space who feel like they have all the answers or they want to be the center or whatever, but you're not going to get very far alone. And I think having those, as you said, squad partners, teammates, whatever it is, to push you along. And I'd love for you to share how you've grown from other people, because a lot of times we talk about how we help other people, but we don't focus enough on how we've been helped by other people.
Right. I mean, the obvious answer is going to be meeting professional goals and everything like that. But ultimately, going to conferences, meeting people on Twitter and participating in Twitter chats has given me an opportunity to find like-minded individuals. So
Yeah, absolutely.
just the way I teach isn't this going to be the same as the person down the hallway. I mean, the people in your building are definitely ones that you want to start with because can have those face-to-face interactions, but not everybody might be open to it. Now, going out on Twitter and finding whatever whatever content area you are in or whatever grade level band you are teaching, there's a Twitter chat out there for you. Just hopefully it works with whatever time you are available. And you'll meet people that have that same idea and will just, like the saying goes, iron sharpens iron and makes you stronger as you go forward. And that's what I found over the years is uh, sh- getting and sharing ideas and concepts, especially with people like John Meehan. And
Hmm.
he's Adrenaline Rush and what's the name of the other book that he wrote with Michael Matera? But they're constantly sharing ideas and resources,
Hmm.
and tons of people are sharing templates for different things they're doing in their classroom. So you don't have to create everything yourself. I mean, there's a saying that I heard all through going to teacher college and working throughout the years is that the best teachers steal.
Right.
They take ideas from others and they make them their own.
And I say that's edu borrowing. Like we edu borrow
Yes,
things throughout.
I like that.
Yeah. So, talk to me about the modern classroom. I don't know anything really about that, but you had started to talk about it, and I'd love to personally learn more and have our viewers and listeners learn more about what that is and your involvement.
Yeah, I'm relatively new to it. Stephanie Howell has a group, I believe it's called Hello Gold or Gold EDU, and I had joined that after hearing her speak at a educational technology conference. It was the Create conference at Anthony Wayne, which is yet again in Ohio here. Ohio represent. We do big things here. Um, in that group, it's just constant emails throughout the day, and people are sharing ideas, going back and forth, sharing their resources, much like what I just talked about with Twitter and everything there. And somebody had mentioned the Modern Classrooms project in one of these threads in the Google group. So I dug into it a little bit, and I'm loving what I am seeing. They have a free course that you can go and take to learn more about it. And I'm currently, I don't know, maybe about halfway through it. But
Okay.
it's essentially about changing the way we deliver content to our students. So instead of the traditional, okay, I'm going to stand up here and lecture, and then you're going to do this work, or you're going to do this homework, or you're going to go off and work in groups, it's breaking it down. I don't want to say it's like the flipped classroom, but it has concepts that take it from there. It's a blended classroom model. So
Okay.
to break it down really simply, the teacher's going to take a chapter, a unit, a lesson, start with one standard, and they're going to, whatever they would have done traditionally, if it was a worksheet or if it was a small project or if it was group work, you're still going to do those sorts of things. But instead of that lecture that you may have started with or that slideshow, whatever it was,
Yep.
you go and record it ahead of time. So you do a screencast, or you record yourself writing on the whiteboard in your classroom, whatever it is that works with your content area. You try to keep it, somewhere 3 to 9 minutes. They say 3 to 6 minutes is ideal. That's where you're going to have the highest engagement with the students, regardless of grade level. But you also need to include, make it ed puzzle. So there's embedded questions, or you hand them guided notes to follow
Hmm.
along while you're presenting there. But now, instead of you're sending kids home with just homework to do, with mom and dad that may not have been in school for the past 20, 25, 30 years and don't remember all these concepts
Sure.
from their calculus class or whatever back then. Uh, Now they have your video lecture available to them. They can pause it, they can rewind it, fast forward, whatever they need to do there. So that's the more critical piece to help the students to be able to go back to that information and look over it again. So all of the lessons start with that concept where they're watching a video at their own pace. So that way, if a kid is sick, or if they're just, that kid that doesn't show up to school every day, or if they happen to go out to the restroom and miss that critical piece of your lecture, well, now that doesn't happen anymore because they can always go back and access that and view it. So it's really a mastery based approach to where they're
Okay.
going to watch a video, and then there's a progress tracking bar so they know what they need to do next. And you have that all laid out in your classroom. I wish I had examples to share, but I don't
Hmm.
have anything in here. Um, so the students can follow along. They can see where other kids are in the class because you have a public facing tracking system that you can see that student A is on lesson 2, part 4, whereas student 6 is on, 2, 3. So they know that who they can go to ask for help in the classroom as well. So now the teacher, instead of sitting in the classroom speaking up front, now they can walk around and have that individual attention to every single kid, or they can do small group instruction to help catch up those kids that seem to not fully grasp what they got in the first go around there. And then they still have an exit ticket at the end to, as they progress through, they're going and meeting with the teacher saying, okay, here's where I am after this, what do you think? You get to have that instant feedback instead of turning the homework in at the end of class, then filling it out and giving it back to them the next day. So it just rearranges the way that we're doing things, and there is a little bit more work because you have to design this stuff up front. But I'm very intrigued at the concept. They've partnered with Johns Hopkins University. They've done research on it,
Oh,
and
wow.
the data that they have is eye opening. They've gotten feedback from teachers, feedback from students that all say that it's really helped with engagement, with rapport, with um, student work. and I don't remember exactly where it was with tests, but the test scores went up as well too. So I'm really interested in this concept and how I can use it in my own classroom as well as helping others get started with it as well. And that free course that they have is 25 to 30 hours. So it's not something you can just do in a
Yeah,
week.
no, and it sounds incredibly interesting and where our field is going and
Yeah.
shifting and moving. And speaking of shifting, one of the questions I wanted to ask is you mentioned early on that you've been to FETC a few times, and that's where
Mhm.
we kind of started our chat today. So, for those who this is their first time, what would be your recommendation as a veteran participant and presenter?
If you have specific topics that you want to look for, go on the website now. The agenda is live. I mean, things are going to change between now and then. Like I know some of my sessions are still kind of settling on what times they're going to be and everything,
Yep.
but you can scroll through and get a general idea. And there's a search bar on there. So if you're looking for maker spaces or if you're looking for 3D printing, whatever topic it is that you want to learn more about, just hit that search bar, type it in, find sessions that match that, and put them on your. If you sign in, I think you can hit like a little star on there, and then it's going to save those for you and create an agenda for you that you can quickly go back and refer to. That has been lifesaver for me at the conference and just be able to like, oh yeah, what was I going to go to? Pull it up and see which ones are there because there's so many sessions going on. If you can, if your school is going to help cover it, get the pass that allows you to go to workshops because there are a lot of great workshops. The basic pass is just for the show floor and the concurrent sessions. So those do not get you into the 2 hour workshops. There's a lot of great material inside of there, but there is that additional cost. So definitely consider that if your school will pay for it or if you're paying, it's worth the extra money to do that. And if you get invited to one of those special dinners that all the companies seem to be having their own dinner on Tuesday night or Wednesday, whatever it is, go to one of those because there's a lot of fun that happens. It's more laid back. It doesn't feel like a sales pitch like you might encounter when you're out on the show floor. Um, but you'll meet a lot of great people and you'll share a lot of great ideas with them there too.
Awesome. So, last question that I ask all of our guests: what does "stronger together" mean to you?
You're not alone. you know, don't be afraid to go down the hallway and ask somebody for help, whether you're new to education or if you've been around for 30 years. As I'm in year 15 now, so I'd like to think I'm halfway through my career, but I'm in private education. I'm going to be in until I don't
You got a ways to go.
know. So go to that person that's teaching the same content area. Join Twitter. Go to the conferences. Meet those other people because they're going to help lift you up when you're feeling down. And the like this past week before we were wrapping up for the semester, it can be a drag. It can wear you down. So don't let those rough areas define your school year and your career. Get help and build your way, work your way through it. And everybody's in this together. And really, ultimately, we're here for the kids to help them have a better life and a better future. So we got to take care of ourselves. And the best way to do that is to work with the others around us.
Awesome. Well, Kevin, it was great to connect. I look forward to seeing you in a couple weeks. If you don't yet follow Kevin. His Twitter handle is right down below. We showed earlier his book. Make sure to check that out on his Twitter handle. There's a direct link right to the book 3DU, a guide to 3D printing in every classroom. You got to check that out. And as we mentioned a few different times today, Wired Educator, follow them as well. Learn from that squad and check out their Twitter chat on Wednesday nights at 9 o'clock as well. So all those are just a great opportunity to learn from Kevin, from the rest of the squad, from his work and his book. And then if you are coming down to New Orleans, check out Kevin and his session and all that he has to offer as well. So Kevin, it was great to connect and chat with you and look forward to seeing you in a few weeks.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you.
Awesome. And a little, I think, Stronger Together trivia. I'm going to kick on our closing outro video, I think we determined that you took one of the pictures after you did a cartwheel. Is that true or not? That's
I think we'll have to watch.
show lore there. Awesome. So it was great to talk to you. And for those of you watching, those of you who are listening either live or on playback, remember when we are collaborating, we're going to put we over me, and that's how we become stronger together.